The Discovery. The holographic stars glittered across the command deck as Captain Ilara Voss studied the anomalous signal for the 5th time that day. The Athena, Earth's most advanced research vessel, had been tracking the peculiar energy signature for 3 weeks now, a beacon calling from the edges of charted space. "Still think it's worth the risk, Captain?" Lieutenant Commander Riker asked, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of his console. Ilara nodded, pushing a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. 23 species in the Galactic Consortium told us to ignore it. That alone makes it worth investigating. The Xelar were particularly insistent, Riker noted. Their ambassador practically turned purple, warning us away. And yet none of them would explain why, Ilara replied. Just the usual dismissive humans aren't ready speech. I'm tired of being treated like the galaxy's children. The Athena had been humanity's pride since its launch 3 years ago. Earth's unity government had poured resources into deep space exploration after first contact with the Galactic Consortium 50 years earlier had revealed humanity's relatively minor position in the cosmic hierarchy. While welcomed as trading partners, humans were consistently denied access to advanced technologies and restricted from certain regions of space. "Approaching the Nexus system," announced Navigation Officer Tenzin. "Preliminary scans indicate the signal is originating from the 4th planet." The main view screen shifted to display a world of stark contrasts. One hemisphere bathed in perpetual daylight from its binary stars, the other locked in eternal darkness. "Fascinating," said Dr. Amara Osei, the ship's chief xenobiologist. "The terminator line between light and dark appears artificial." "That's not natural planetary rotation." "Life signs?" Ilara asked. "Nothing contemporary," replied Science Officer Chen, checking his readings. "But there are massive energy signatures beneath the surface, primarily on the dark side." And he paused, eyebrows rising. "Artificial structures. Extensive ones." Ilara felt a familiar thrill run through her. "Prepare a landing team. I want boots on the ground within the hour." "Captain," Riker said quietly, "protocol suggests we should notify the consortium before investigating ruins of unknown origin, and give them another chance to deny us. We'll inform them after we've had a look." Ilara stood. "Besides, we're outside their jurisdiction here." The landing shuttle pierced through wispy clouds as it descended toward the twilight zone between the planet's light and dark sides. 5 expedition members sat strapped in their seats. Captain Voss, Dr. Osei, Security Chief Martinez, Engineer Kwan, and linguist Dr. Harbour. "Setting down 1 kilometer from the largest structure," reported Martinez, who piloted the craft. "Ground appears solid, atmosphere thin but breathable with supplemental oxygen." As they stepped out onto the alien soil, Ilara felt the weight of the moment. Humans had visited dozens of worlds by now, but something about this place felt different, ancient, and significant. The landscape was a study in contrasts. Behind them, crystal formations caught the perpetual sunlight, refracting it into prismatic displays. Ahead, the darkness loomed like a physical wall, broken only by faint blue luminescence outlining massive structures. "Those aren't ruins," whispered Dr. Harper as they approached. "They're preserved. Perfectly." The central structure rose like a mountain of black glass, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. No doors were visible, just smooth, seamless walls that absorbed their flashlight beams. "The energy readings are strongest below us," Engineer Kwan reported, checking her instruments. "I'm detecting a network of chambers extending at least 2 kilometers downward." "Look there," Martins pointed to a section of wall where the symbols were glowing more intensely. As they approached, the surface rippled like water, and an opening formed. "It's responding to our presence," Dr. Osei said, her voice tight with excitement. "This technology is still active." "Proceed with caution," Ilara ordered, leading the way inside. The interior was illuminated by strips of blue light that activated as they walked, revealing a vast chamber with a ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. At the center stood what appeared to be control pedestals arranged in a circle around a spherical void, literally a perfect absence of light that somehow maintained its shape despite the illumination surrounding it. "I've never seen anything like this," Engineer Quan whispered, approaching one of the pedestals. "These aren't mechanical controls. They seem to react to neural patterns." Dr. Harper studied the symbols engraved along the base of each pedestal. "I think I recognize elements of this language from fragments in the consortium archives. It's attributed to a species called the architects, believed to have vanished over 1 million years ago." Ilara approached the central void. "What is this? Some kind of containment field?" "Captain, I don't think we should," Dr. Osei began, but stopped as the sphere pulsed, sending out rings of darkness that passed through their bodies like cold waves. The symbols around them brightened in response, and a voice, or something like a voice, resonated not in the air, but directly in their minds. "Visitors, after so long." Ilara steadied herself against a pedestal. "We are humans, from Earth. We come in peace and in pursuit of knowledge. Humans, unknown, new, different from the forbidden." "The forbidden?" Martins asked, hand instinctively moving to his weapon. "Those who would misuse. Those who fear the shadow gates." "Shadow gates?" Ilara questioned. Before any response came, Dr. Harper gasped. Movement outside the structure. Many signatures, closing fast. The sphere pulsed again, more urgently. "The Watchers come. They serve the forbidden. They destroy all who seek knowledge. Back to the shuttle," Ilara ordered. "Now." But as they turned to leave, the entrance sealed itself, the wall becoming solid once more. "Too late. The Watchers have found you because of us. You must choose. Flee and be hunted, or understand and survive." "What are you offering?" Ilara asked, heart pounding. "Knowledge. Power. The shadow gates were created to harness the energy between dimensions. The forbidden fear this power. They keep all younger species ignorant, claiming protection while enforcing stagnation." The walls of the chamber vibrated as something powerful struck the exterior of the structure. "They're trying to break in," Martins reported. Ilara made a split-second decision. "Show us. Quickly." The sphere expanded, enveloping the pedestals. Within the darkness, images formed, showing technologies beyond human comprehension, the ability to manipulate space-time, energy generation that defied known physics. "Touch the gate. Accept the knowledge." "Captain, we can't trust," Riker began over the comm link from the Athena in orbit. "The consortium has kept us in the dark for 50 years. Ilara replied. "I'm done waiting for permission." She stepped forward and placed her hand on the nearest pedestal. Light and darkness intertwined, flowing up her arm and spreading throughout her body. Information flooded her consciousness, not just technical specifications but understanding of their purpose, their potential. The other expedition members followed her lead, each connecting to a different pedestal. As they did, the entire structure hummed with power. The darkness within the sphere began to coalesce, taking shape, becoming solid. "They're called Void Dwellers," Ilara said, her voice distant as knowledge poured into her mind. "The creatures outside. They're not alive as we understand life. They exist in the space between dimensions, guardians placed by the forbidden to keep species like ours from the shadow gates." The chamber shuddered again as another impact struck the exterior. "We've awakened the facility," Engineer Quan said, her eyes wide with newfound understanding. "But it needs more power to fully activate." "What happens if it activates?" Martins asked. Dr. Harper answered, knowledge flowing through her. "It creates a bridge, allowing controlled access to dark energy on a scale we've never imagined." The consortium races, Dr. Osei realized. They've been keeping this technology from emerging species, maintaining their power advantage. A final, massive impact shook the chamber, and cracks appeared in one wall. "Decide," The voice urged. Accept the gate's power or perish. Ilara looked at her team, saw the same determination reflected in their eyes. We accept. The darkness from the sphere flowed outward, enveloping them completely. For a moment, there was nothing but void. Then points of light sparked within the darkness, connecting, forming a network that matched the neural pathways in their brains. Ilara felt herself changing, expanding, her consciousness touching something vast and ancient. The wall burst inward, and shadowy figures poured through the breach. The Void Dwellers. They moved like liquid darkness given form, with multiple limbs and faceless heads that somehow still conveyed malevolence. But before they could attack, the network of light within the darkness intensified, and Ilara understood what needed to be done. Together, she called to her team. Focus your thoughts. As the Void Dwellers surged forward, the humans directed the energy flowing through them. The shadow gate at the center of the room pulsed once, twice, then expanded in a wave of controlled energy that passed through the attackers. The Void Dwellers froze, then disintegrated into particles of light and shadow that scattered across the chamber floor. We did it, Martins breathed, looking down at his hands, which glowed with residual energy. No, Ilara said, the knowledge from the gate still flowing through her mind. We've only begun. Above them, the ceiling of the chamber dissolved, revealing the eternal night sky of the planet's dark side. But now, that darkness was punctuated by thousands of lights, more Void Dwellers, descending toward the structure. And beyond them, visible even from the planet's surface, the unmistakable shapes of consortium warships entering the system. The forbidden come, the voice confirmed. Now, illuminate the darkness, or be consumed by it. Ilara looked at her team, then up at the approaching threats. We need to get back to the Athena. And then we need to understand exactly what we've become part of. As if in response, the energy flowing through them intensified again, and Ilara felt a new possibility open in her mind. Everyone, join hands, she commanded. I think we can transport ourselves. As the first of the new wave of Void Dwellers reached the chamber entrance, the 5 humans connected physically and mentally. The Shadow Gate's energy enveloped them in a cocoon of light and darkness. And then, they were standing on the bridge of the Athena, surrounded by the shocked faces of the crew. Riker was the first to recover. Captain, what happened down there? You're glowing. Ilara looked at her team, seeing the network of light still visible beneath their skin, then at the view screen showing the approaching consortium ships. We've discovered the truth, she said, and now we need to decide what to do with it. On the screen, the consortium flagship launched fighters toward the Athena's position. Your orders, Captain? Asked the tactical officer. Ilara straightened, feeling the power of the Shadow Gate still flowing within her. Take us into the dark side of the planet. We need time to understand what we've learned. As the Athena accelerated away from the approaching fleet, Ilara gazed out at the stars, knowing that humanity's place in the galaxy had just been irrevocably changed. They kept this from us for a reason, she said quietly. Now we find out why. The illumination. The Athena shuddered as another energy pulse from the consortium vessels struck their shields. Captain Ilara Voss gripped the arms of her command chair, watching the tactical display with growing concern. 3 Sealer dreadnoughts and 7 Taulic cruisers had formed a blockade between the Athena and the system's jump point. Shields at 63%, reported Tactical Officer Jameson. They're not using full weapons capacity. They want to disable, not destroy. They want what we found, Ilara said, looking at her landing team. The 5 of them still exhibited the strange luminescent patterns beneath their skin, a visible sign of their connection to the Shadow Gate. Status of the surface facility. Science Officer Chen studied his readings. Massive energy buildup. Whatever we activated down there is still running. And it's growing, expanding through the underground network. The ship rocked again as another blast struck them. Incoming transmission from the Sailor flagship. Communications Officer Park announced. "Put it through," Ilara ordered. The view screen shifted to show its sealer commander, his purple skin flushed dark with anger, 4 eyes blinking asynchronously, a sign of extreme agitation in their species. "Human vessel Athena, you have violated consortium law by accessing forbidden technology. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Your contaminated crew members will be quarantined." Ilara stepped forward. "Contaminated? Is that what you call it when a species learns the truth? That you've been suppressing technological advancement to maintain your dominance?" The sealer's eyes blinked rapidly. "You understand nothing, human. The shadow gates are not mere technology. They are a plague upon the universe. We quarantined this system for your protection. Yet you've clearly studied the gates yourselves," Dr. Osei interjected, stepping into view. "We've seen the evidence. Consortium vessels have visited this planet repeatedly. Special dispensation for qualified researchers only." The sealer snapped. "Not for primitive species who would destroy themselves with powers they cannot comprehend." Ilara felt the energy within her pulse in response to her anger. "We're done being patronized. The Athena will not surrender." She signaled Park to cut the transmission and turned to her crew. "Options. We can't outrun them. And we can't outgun them," Martinez said grimly. Engineer Quan looked up from her console, her eyes containing traces of the same network pattern that ran beneath her skin. "There might be another way. The knowledge from the gate. I think I understand some of it now. The facility isn't just a research center. It's a node in a network that spans multiple systems." "A transportation network?" Ilara asked. "More than that," Quan replied. "It's a dimensional anchor point. If we can fully activate it, we might be able to shift the Athena into the same partial dimension as the gates." "That sounds dangerously close to what the Void Dwellers were doing," Martinez warned. Dr. Harper had been quiet until now, her linguist's mind processing the information downloaded from the gate. "The Void Dwellers aren't the enemy. Not really. They're tools created by the consortium races to guard the technology. The original architects designed the gates to be accessible to any species that reached a certain technological threshold. So the consortium has been actively preventing emerging species from reaching that threshold," Ilara concluded, "keeping us dependent on their controlled technological releases." Another hit rocked the ship. "Shields at 40%, Jameson reported. "They're intensifying their attack." Ilara made her decision. "Dr. Osei, Quan, can you use your connection to the gate to activate this network from here?" They exchanged looks. "Theoretically," Quan said, "but it would be more effective if we were in direct contact with the main facility." "We can't risk sending a shuttle through that blockade," Riker pointed out. Dr. Harper's eyes widened. "We may not need to, Captain. When we transported from the surface, I don't think we used technology in the conventional sense. It was more like, we willed ourselves to be here." "You're suggesting we can teleport back to the surface?" Martinez asked skeptically. "Not teleport," Dr. Osei clarified. "More like, phase shift our consciousness and have our physical forms follow." Ilara considered this. The 5 of us could return to the facility, but what about the ship and crew? "If we can fully activate the network," Quan said, "we should be able to extend its field to encompass the Athena." Another hit sent sparks flying from a nearby console. 32% shields, Jameson called out. "They're targeting our engines now." "We're out of time and options," Ilara said. She turned to Riker. "Commander, you have the bridge. If we're not successful, your priority is the safety of this crew." Riker nodded grimly. "Understood, Captain." The 5 members of the landing team gathered in a circle on the bridge. As they joined hands, the luminescent patterns beneath their skin brightened, connecting between them to form a complete circuit. "Focus on the shadow gate chamber," Ilara instructed. "Visualize it in complete detail." They closed their eyes, and the energy that had been dormant within them since their return surged forward. The bridge crew watched in astonishment as the 5 began to shimmer, their forms becoming translucent. Then they were gone, leaving only a brief afterglow where they had stood. They materialized in the Shadow Gate chamber, now a scene of destruction. The breach in the wall had widened, and several pedestals had been damaged. The central sphere pulsed erratically, its perfect void disrupted by streaks of chaotic energy. The Void Dwellers have been trying to destroy it, Dr. Harper said, looking around. No, Dr. Osei corrected, new understanding flowing into her mind from the connection. They're trying to consume it. The energy. They feed on it. We need to stabilize the gate, Quan said, moving to an intact pedestal. Everyone, take position around the circle. As they each connected to a pedestal, the energy flow stabilized. The sphere at the center gradually returned to its perfect void state. You have returned, the voice resonated in their minds. The forbidden attack from above. We know, Ilara replied. We need to fully activate the network. Can you show us how? The network requires illumination. The shadows must be balanced with light. What does that mean? Martins asked. Dr. Harper's expression changed as understanding came to her. The architects, they weren't just technological masters. They understood that consciousness itself is a fundamental force in the universe. The gates respond to more than just technical knowledge. They respond to emotional states, to creativity, to will. The consortium races, Dr. Osei realized. They're methodical, logical. Many of them evolved to minimize emotional responses. They see emotions as primitive. But humans, Ilara said slowly, we experience emotions intensely. We create art from them, find solutions through intuitive leaps. Exactly, Quan agreed. The gates need both logic and emotion, shadow and light, to function as intended. Ilara placed both hands on her pedestal. Then let's show the gate what humans can do. The 5 humans closed their eyes, each focusing not just on the technical knowledge they had received, but on their core emotional responses: curiosity, determination, hope, even fear, the full spectrum of human experience. The Shadow Gate responded, the void at its center pulsing with new energy. The damaged sections of the chamber began to repair themselves, molecules realigning into their original configuration. Yes, the voice encouraged. Illuminate the shadows with your unique light. Above them, through the open ceiling, they could see energy beams from the consortium ships striking the Athena's failing shields. Their ship was running out of time. We need to extend the gate's protection to our ship, Ilara said urgently. The network can encompass your vessel, but the power required is significant. The balance must be perfect. What do you need from us? Dr. Harper asked. Harmony. Unity of purpose without loss of individual perspective. This is what the architects valued above all, diversity and unity. The 5 humans looked at each other, understanding flowing between them through their connection to the gate. Everyone, Ilara said, share your knowledge, your perspective. Don't hold anything back. As they opened their minds fully to one another, their individual luminescent patterns merged into a single network. The Shadow Gate responded, the void expanding outward, engulfing the entire chamber in darkness. For a moment, they existed in perfect nothingness. Then, points of light sparked into existence around them. Countless stars, galaxies, and between them, a lattice of blue-white energy connecting certain points. The network, Quan whispered in awe. The gates spanned the entire galaxy. Within this starscape, they could see the Athena, now surrounded by consortium vessels preparing to board. The ship's shields were failing, its crew preparing for the inevitable. Now, Ilara commanded, focusing all her will through the gate. A bubble of darkness expanded from the planet's surface, racing upward to envelop the Athena. The consortium ships fired frantically at the approaching phenomenon, but their weapons passed through it without effect. As the bubble engulfed the Earth vessel, the Athena seemed to flicker, becoming translucent before stabilizing again. To the consortium observers, it appeared to vanish entirely. In reality, The ship had been shifted partially out of normal spacetime into the dimensional frequency used by the shadow gates. The crew watched in astonishment as the consortium vessels became ghostly, their weapons fire passing harmlessly through the Athena's hull. "We did it," Martine said, watching the starscape. "Not yet," Ilara replied, her focus still on maintaining the connection. "We need to understand what we've truly discovered here, what this means for humanity." The voice of the gate responded. The architects created the network to share knowledge freely. When they transcended physical form, they left the gates for species who would follow their example. The Forbidden, your consortium, discovered the first gate 1,000 years ago, but they feared its potential to upset their established order. Some wished to destroy all gates. Others argued for study and control. They compromised by hiding them, guarding them, and restricting access based on their judgment of species readiness. And they judged humanity unready, Dr. Osei said bitterly. They judged you unpredictable. Your emotional capacity makes you different, dangerous in their assessment, promising in ours. You keep saying ours, Ilara noted. Who are you? We are echoes, fragments of the architect's consciousness preserved to guide those who follow. We have waited for a species with both the technological aptitude and the emotional capacity to properly utilize the gates. The starscape shifted, showing them possibilities. Clean energy that could power worlds without depletion, medical technologies that could extend life indefinitely, instantaneous travel between stars. Why show this to us? Martines asked. Why now? Because the balance shifts. The Forbidden grow stagnant in their control. New voices must join the chorus of consciousness. You have demonstrated potential. The vision faded, returning them to the chamber. But now they could perceive both realities simultaneously, the physical chamber and the network it connected to. The Athena is secure, Quan reported, her consciousness still linked to the ship. But the consortium is bringing in more vessels. They're deploying some kind of dimensional anchors to try to force us back into normal space. They're afraid, Dr. Harper realized, not just of us gaining this technology, but of us sharing it with other species they've deemed unready. Ilara considered their options. If we try to flee, they'll hunt us across the galaxy. If we fight, we risk becoming what they fear, using this power as a weapon. There's another way, Dr. Osei said quietly. We show them what they've forgotten. We remind them of the architect's true purpose. Understanding flowed between them. Ilara nodded and placed both hands on her pedestal. Open a channel to all consortium vessels, she commanded. The shadow gate pulsed, and they felt their consciousness extend outward, touching the minds of every being on the surrounding ships. This is Captain Ilara Voss of Earth, she projected, her thoughts carried through the gate's network. We have accessed the architect's legacy not to threaten you, but to remind you of a truth you've forgotten. The shadow gates were never meant to be hoarded or feared, but shared. Watch and understand. Through their connection, they shared the knowledge they had gained, not just the technological potential of the gates, but the philosophy behind them. The architect's belief that diversity of experience and perspective was the universe's greatest treasure. That advancement came not from control, but from cooperation between fundamentally different minds. They showed the consortium races images of Earth's history, humanity's struggles and triumphs, their art and music, their capacity for both destruction and creation, their emotional depth that the consortium had dismissed as primitive, but was, in fact, the very quality the architects had valued. For several minutes, this communion of minds continued. Then, gradually, they withdrew, returning fully to the chamber. The Sealer flagship is hailing us, Quan reported, still connected to the Athena. On the bridge of the Earth vessel, now visible to the consortium fleet again, Commander Riker accepted the transmission. The Sealer commander appeared, his 4 eyes now synchronized in the pattern that indicated deep thought. Your captain has given us much to consider, the alien said slowly. The Council of Elders must debate what has occurred here. Until their decision, we will establish a perimeter around this system, but we will not attack if you make no aggressive moves. That's progress, I suppose, Riker replied cautiously. In the Shadow Gate chamber, Ilara and her team monitored the exchange. They're retreating to a safe distance, Martinez observed through their connection to the ship, but maintaining their blockade. It's a start, Ilara said. This won't be resolved quickly. Centuries of policy don't change in a day. What will you do now? The Gate's voice asked. Ilara looked at her team, then up at the stars visible through the chamber's open ceiling. We'll learn, she said firmly. Everything you can teach us about the Gates, about the architects. Then we'll bring that knowledge home, carefully and responsibly. And then, Dr. Harper asked. Ilara smiled, the luminescent patterns beneath her skin pulsing in harmony with her determination. Then humanity takes its place in the galaxy, not as children to be guided, but as equals who bring something unique to the cosmic conversation. We'll show the consortium that emotions aren't weaknesses, they're different kinds of strength. The path will not be easy, the voice warned. The forbidden will resist change. Some will fear you more now. That's always been humanity's story, Ilara replied. Facing fear, embracing the unknown, finding light in the darkness. She placed her hand on the central void, feeling its energy respond to her touch. And we've never backed down from a challenge. The Shadow Gate pulsed one final time, as if in approval. Around them, the ancient facility hummed with renewed purpose, awakening fully after its long dormancy. Above, the stars beckoned, no longer distant and unreachable, but connected by a network humanity was now part of. Ilara's eyes met those of her team, seeing in them the same determination she felt. Let's rewrite the rules of the galaxy.